breaking fucking Wreckords Radio.
What up? I'm Moka only, and you're checking out Breaking Wreckords Radio. Don't forget that, because if you do, you're a dummy.
Alright, Breaking Wreckords Radio, you know what it is. It's your boy Maloney in the place to be. Obi-Wan on the side of me. Yes. Shout out to the homie Robbie G for having us at our Evolution Studios in Guelph right now.
Let's get straight into what you got going on right now. The 12 albums in 12 months.
Yeah.
So we're halfway there. Have you dropped the 6th one yet?
Wait, what month are we going into? What month are we on?
June.
What month is that?
6.
Okay, yeah, it's coming. At in the week after next is coming out.
Dope.
And it's an album called. It's actually a different character. Something I recorded a little while back under the moniker Malcolm Jackson. And the album's called Summerland. So it'll be like Moka only presents Malcolm Jackson, Summerland. It's an album kind of based on the Okanagan region in British Columbia. That's sort of where I got the inspiration from. That's the theme of it.
Dope.
And the character Malcolm Jackson is like a combination of Moka only plus Ron Contour, like somewhere in the middle.
Well, I was gonna ask about that too, Ron Contour. He's been an alias you've gone by for a while. What was the idea behind that to begin with?
It's just something silly. Just something silly to do, you know what I mean?
Something to keep it fresh and different?
Yeah. Just I don't know. I like the idea of taking on characters, like literally stepping into something else out of your own comfort zone. And I'm always a big fan of anything like the absurd. I'm kind of like from the similar school of thought, like Frank Zappa, right? But in my own music, I usually don't take the absurdity aspect that far.
Yeah.
But doing the Ron Contour stuff allows me to. Like, I did a Ron Contour album years ago called Rontario. And the whole album was just all Ontario references, and it was just like the worst. It's so bad, I can barely listen to it. It's awful.
So I did find a couple different numbers of albums that you had. One I saw was 80 albums and mixtapes. One was 50.
Oh.
Which one do you think you're closer to?
It's more than 80.
More than 80?
Yeah, I think it's like 90 something.
Well, I think I had 80 albums, mixtapes, and 15 EPs.
Let's just say projects.
Projects.
I don't know. You know, I mean, honestly,
Hard to keep track of that point, eh?
I don't really I don't care because I don't do that to try to be like a title holder. I just do it because I love doing this stuff. I just love it. I can't stop. It's all I ever think about. You know what I mean? Even when especially when I'm on the road, I'm just like, damn, I wish I had my equipment with me and I could make some music, but there's just simply not time or logistically like the space to bring. Cause I use like all old stuff, like you have to load like coal in the back, build up the pressure. Anyway, I got a coal-fired sampler. It's from 1952. It's like at the end of the coal era. It's called Chuff Chuff Boom Bap.
Complimentary gas mask with it.
Oh, you don't need a gas mask for it. I mean, it's steam powered. It's just like you have to override the chuffing sound. You know, it's the wheels turn. Anyway, that's ridiculous.
All right, now,
No. Yeah.
Shit. All right, I read something you were quoted saying hip-hop doesn't pay enough attention to jazz anymore.
Yeah, I think I said that like recently on like Twitter or something like that.
So what are some of your biggest jazz influences?
Well, what I was getting at is okay, hip hop it's gone through so many trends, and now I think we're at the apex of trend hopping more than any other era in hip hop thus yet. But from the late 80s right through to like the mid 90s, maybe even further for some artists, jazz was like a real heavy component of inspiration and influence on a lot of artists. I mean, and it wasn't just like, and it wasn't just like the lighthearted stuff. It was like Mobb Deep used jazz, Black Moon used jazz, Public Enemy, like as many people as you can think of. Like jazz wasn't it's such a benchmark in American culture, you know what I mean? And it just seems like as the 90s were coming to an end, people just swept the jazz and soul influences under the rug, you know what I mean? It had a bit of a resurgence in the mid 2000s, but just everybody right now is just, they just want to do like trap shit.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on all the new trap music and the sound and that hip hop's forming and taking?
I don't really think it's anything that new, to be honest with you. Like, if you really want to,
it's like what Cash Money was doing in the 90s and No Limit. And
me and Prevail were doing that in the early 90s. Doing the slow beats and rhyming like double time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No, I was thinking about this recently because I've gotten like a couple debates with people about it. They're like, oh, you should be more open-minded. I am open-minded, man. I've worked with all different type of genres and stuff for my own music, and you know what I mean. But the only issue I really take up with it is everybody abandoning what they did just to jump on one thing and copy each other. I hate it. That kind of goes against what hip hop was always special, because it was your own voice. It was something that came from your heart and soul, and when everybody just jumps on one bandwagon, it just seems so beat, and it seems like such a cop-out, like so tired, you know what I mean? No, I don't have a problem with the music itself. I mean, you know, I've even over the couple of years, I've done like a couple guest appearances that were on like straight up trap beats. Personally, I like beats around the mid 90s tempo because I want to flow.
Yeah.
I don't want to flow like double time. Like that's fun, and I used to do that, but I like to catch a flow. Like, to me, it's like surfing, you know what I mean? Like riding the beat and making something from it. I don't want to just say like 4 things in a verse.
Hey.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like ignorance is at such an all-time high, and that's what is pushed, and people are just unwittingly supporting poor attempts at hip-hop, and it's like a big joke. And for all the non-rap listeners, they look and watch what hip-hop is doing, and they see it, and it just makes hip-hop, and even more so black people, look like we lost our fucking minds. Oops.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, you can swear.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's just many ways to look at it. Is it fun? Sure. I mean, people could have fun with it, but I do these shows all around North America, and there's a lot of trap openers. None of those guys even look like they're having fun. They're just screaming and yelling. You can't hear what it is.
Yeah.
It's just the same beat over and over again, man. I don't know.
And with that being said, too, have you ever got a beat or a track from an artist for a collaboration that, you know, has been business related and they paid for it, to where you've got it and you've been like, yeah, I can't rock this, you gotta send me something else? Or do you always give the artist...
I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I've been hit with a couple like trap beats that weren't really my flavor, but I'm like,
if this is what you want.
if
then.
this is what you want. First off, when somebody does that, it makes me think like, well, why do you want me? Like, I don't think you're familiar with the type of music.
Do you listen to my shit? Like,
but I can't be closed-minded like that, because maybe they want to hear me like try to just step out of that. You know, I got a comfort zone, but we all do. I've been working on the music for so long for a purpose, to try to really find my lane and create something that I believe in. So I just want to stick to my guns. That's why you don't see me just jumping on like all the trap stuff. You know what I mean? It's just not my flavor. That's all.
yeah.
I don't hate it. I just don't like everybody just copying each other. But do what you will. Do what I
If
do.
they switch the content up a bit, it would entertain it a little bit more. But the content seems to be pretty watered down on most trap. What they're rapping about.
It's all the same shit.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that.
Alright, so at such a rapid rate of putting out projects, where do you pull most of your inspiration from? What keeps you inspired and keeps you motivated?
Such a cliche answer. It was just regular life. Super like the I always enjoyed the mundane aspects of life, the things that other rappers don't necessarily talk about. Because the details, I've said it before, the details are like, the devil is in the details, or the details are the spice of life. Those are the things, all the things that commonly get overlooked are the things that I wanna bring focus to. Like, as a rapper, like there is more than just turning up at a club, and like, you know, like we do other things, like we do laundry.
Yeah.
We go to Whole Foods and buy avocados. You know what I'm saying? We wear jackets, like we wear socks. Like these things, these are real, and I just like, that's just the type of, just the mindset I come from. I like
simple things in life.
Yeah, and the absurdity of talking about some of the mundane things is fun. I don't know why I do it. I just do it.
If you could venture into another genre, what would you go for?
Well, like I told you, I was thinking it'd be fun to have like a punk trio. You know what I mean? Like, or quartet or whatever, and just real like 80s style, like skate punk. Just
suicidal tendencies.
Yeah, just something loud, obnoxious, maybe with some like social content to it, because that was always sort of like an underlying theme with like early punk rock music. I just think it would be fun, or to even mix it up a bit and like how punk meets jazz, like, you know.
That would be cool.
Well, there's some of that kind of exists. Like there's a band called Naked City, but I can't remember. John Zorn, I believe, was the mastermind behind that, and also, yeah.
It's late night, y'all.
Yeah, it's very late. Yeah.
One thing I did want to ask you about, I was hoping to get the hard copy actually in hands and just pull a Nardwar on you and just throw it at you and see what you had to say about it, but I couldn't. It was gone by the time I went to grab it. Len.
Oh, Len, yeah.
Tell me about the history with Len. How did you get involved with that?
Yeah, okay. Well, Len come from their Toronto, Ontario group, and they're like punkers that were very aware of hip hop and loved hip hop. Their early music wasn't any beat oriented at all, but around the late '90s, like my friend Mark from the band, you know, he's like, I've got this idea, like we're gonna basically revamp Len, and just for shits and giggles, let's see if we can get $1 million deal with it. I got this song, Steal My Sunshine, and working on this album. And he asked me if I wanted to help out on the album a bit. And I said, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? So they're just friends, and they had a good amount of success. I appeared in 3 other music videos, and I'm on the album on a couple of songs. But that's pretty much it. It's just friends who were doing some music.
And that was the Can't Stop the Bum Rush album, right? Yeah.
Thanks to Mark from Len. Like he actually he really pulled some strings for me back in the day. Like he helped get my publishing deal with EMI back in the end of the '90s and stuff, and he introduced me to a lot of key figures. So yeah, he was definitely instrumental in my, you know, coming out into rap or whatever.
And so that would have been, was that before you got involved with Swollen, or did you get involved with Swollen before Len?
Before. See, I came from Vancouver Island originally, Victoria, and my first group was called Sound Advice. It didn't last that long. Afterward, I joined up with Prevail, because we're from the same neighborhood, and we seemed to have like a real kinship musically with what we were into. So me and Prevail were a group for a few years, and we recorded some demos and stuff, and one day we just haphazardly like linked up with Madchild, and we had such a good session together, just freestyling and stuff. We just had this crazy idea, like, yo, let's do a super group project, you know what I mean? Like we're all like local rhyme heroes in Vancouver, I guess, if you want to put it like that. So that's where that came from. But that was 1995, and the Len stuff was
That would have been like 98.
Yeah, 98, 99. Yeah.
I saw that you and Prevail went to San Diego or something, ended up linking up with some representatives from the Rocksteady crew.
Yeah, absolutely. That's we lived in Vancouver for a short time, like 92 to 93, and then 93 we just knew there was more out there, and you know, I always loved California, Like I'd gone several times before, even with my parents when I was like a little kid. So we just said, hey, let's choose a spot and go. And Prev suggested San Diego. And we literally like packed backpacks, copped some Amtrak tickets for really cheap, and we just bounced out that week. We didn't know where we were going. We like had nobody. There's no one we were in contact with. We literally just took a train to LA, and then another train from LA to San Diego. And luckily on that train, the last leg of the trip into San Diego, we met this guy named Mike Pringle, who owned a hip-hop clothing store. And he had overheard me and Prev talking like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And just a complete stranger. And the goodness of the hip-hop community, he let us stay at his work office that night, just gave us the keys, let us stay there, and told us we could drop the keys off at this location at his hip-hop shop the next day. And from then we just met people. It was crazy. We just ended up living there. And within 2 or 3 days we had a house to live in, courtesy of Quasar, who was a graffiti writer from Rocksteady crew. And we met other key members of Rocksteady and Zulu Nation while we were there. Also my man Mr. Brady, who was also had later become a Battle Axe Warrior member of the musical component, the original Battle Axe Warriors, you know what I mean? But Mr. Brady, big up to Mr. Brady, he's from San Diego too, so he was one of the first MCs that we met in San Diego. Just taking a chance, you know what I mean?
It's dope.
And so ever since then, the beginning of the 90s, like, we've had a real, like, partnership with a lot of people in Southern California. We've always gone back and forth, sometimes living in California or both spots, just keeping it going, keeping it moving. You know what I mean? That's how we ended up teaming up with people like Del the Funky Homo Sapien, or Souls of Mischief, AC Alone, Freestyle Fellowship, Abstract Root, all that. It's a long history. It's like detailed. Like one interview couldn't really like.
Yeah. Couldn't sum it up.
Oh yeah, it's been such a ride, man. Like I feel so like blessed and fortunate when I think back, man. I got to see an era in hip hop which you don't really see anymore.
Mm-hmm. As we touched on the trap era.
Yeah. Well, it was like, keep in mind, like this is the early '90s. Like hip hop wasn't popular.
Mm-hmm.
People tried. There's a couple of people that tried to popularize it. There was, MC Hammer blew up, Vanilla Ice blew up, but the core hardcore hip hop didn't take those guys seriously, as history has noted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the ironic thing about that is like Vanilla Ice is still making music, and actually now like I actually give him props because he loved music enough to continue even after his great fall. What does he want to keep doing? Music on the underground. So
yeah.
It's just funny the way the world works.
Put out that one heavy metal album in early 2000s, I think.
But I'm just saying, like going back, I was just so blessed to be part of like a scene that was budding and grew into something special, including like the battle scene,
Oh, for sure.
Well, and you mentioned there too that you met Abstract Rude through that. Can you tell me a little bit about this album here?
Yeah.
This classic.
Man. This was kind of something that was in the making for a long time. We first hooked up with Abstract Rude in 1996. He came to do a show in Vancouver. My homeboy Dayby brought him up. Dayby was a big fan of his. And Dayby threw a show for him, sunk his own personal money into it, and Abstract Rude and his boy Zulu came up to Zulu was one of the dancers in Abstract Rude and Tribe Unique. Came up to rock the show in Vancouver, and they were staying at Dayby's house. And what do you know? The city that never gets snow actually got snowed in, like severely, like 5 feet of snow.
Oh wow!
It was like a freak of nature occurrence. So they ended up getting trapped in Vancouver for like a week. But we built a great relationship out of that. We just hunkered down inside Dayby's house and just made songs, freestyled, and like really built a bond. Always kept in contact after that. So whenever I go to California, you know, I could stay at Ab's house in South Central LA, and vice versa whenever you want to come up. But I remember him, like, he was always talking about Codename Scorpion in like several songs before we even talked about making like a real, like a group effort. I did a single with Abstract Root in 1990, the end of 98 we recorded, it was called Rolling Along. It didn't come out till 2000. But yeah, I even said it, I said Codename Scorpion to get that ball rolling, right? I remember I said that on that song. So in the springtime of 2000, we just decided it was the right time. Like Matt had Battle Axe Records up and running, so he gave us opportunity, put us in the studio for like 4 days, and just banged it out. You know what I mean?
So you guys did that in 4 days?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
We always wanted to do a follow-up. It's just like.
That's actually what I was gonna ask.
Yeah. We came so close to it. Like literally, we did record 2 brand new Codename Scorpion songs like maybe 3 years ago, and it just got held up with a lot of like nonsense and all of our own nonsense, you know. I mean, just miscommunication and stuff. Like, we're all grown men. Sometimes it's hard for like to do anything of a group nature when you've already got your own number one things to look out for, you know what I mean? Who knows? Maybe it'll happen someday. I want it to. I love Ab, and you know, I love Prevail, man. So
the 2 joints that you guys did for the follow-up, did they ever see the light of day, or are they just unreleased joints?
Nah, they weren't even like properly mixed.
Yeah.
I produced one of the joints, and Rob the Viking produced the other one.
What's that?
One of them was called Propane, and I don't remember the title of the other one. Propane was dope though.
Nah.
And then when it became clear that it wasn't going to work out with the Codename Scorpion thing, me and Prev, we decided we'd take another stab at just being a duo. Doing like some duo stuff in between his Swollen members' work, you know what I mean? So we took that Propane song and rewrote it, and with the plan that we'd finally do a Split Sphere album, because our group was called Split Sphere originally. And then that fell apart, so I don't know. It's hard to say, man. It's just some shit just doesn't work out. You know what I mean?
Conflicting schedules.
From the outside looking in, it seems like Prevail's the kind of dude that like. It seems like he really like. There's like few people that really get him going. It's like Matt and maybe Neff. Like, I mean, aside from those, I don't see him. You know what I mean? Like he had the one album he was supposed to be putting out, like the solo album, and that didn't come out for a few years still. And he was even talking to us about it when. I don't know. It just seems like he needs like a motivator, almost just from the outside looking in. Like,
I mean, I still want to do the project with him. You know what I mean? I think it'd be awesome, man. And it probably will happen, one way or another. Because I was with him and Neff recently, and Neff was totally on him. He's bugging him. He's like, "You Moka gotta do this shit." You know what I mean? Big up to Alpha Omega, by the way. Like, I'm really happy for both of them, but particularly for Prev, because we've done some shows together out west, and I see him like a renewed love of hip hop, and he's doing exactly what he wants to do. It's like he's, you know, like, I don't know. They work together, man.
He had a lot of fun on stage when we
man. That's what I'm saying. So it's inspiring. I'm super happy. You know what I mean? Because for a while it looked like Prev was, you know, considering, like he probably even said in interviews, like considering hanging up the mic and pursuing other things. I mean, he's good at a lot of different things, but I'm really happy to see him and Neff do their thing, and I wish them all the best success.
Go cop the Strain EP now.
Yeah, get it. Bitches.
Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the Dilla joint. How'd that come about?
I was kind of a late comer to like discover Slum Village. My boy Kirby Dominant in the Bay Area like had played me some of their stuff around 2000 maybe or whatever. But it wasn't. You know who really championed Slum Village for me? Mad Child. There was an era in like 2001 where that's all Mad Child would play.
Really?
It's just like, man, just listen to the cadences and stuff, and I did. I took his advice and I like really sunk an ear into it, and I was like, oh man. And when listening to the beats, I'm like, who is this cat? This kind of sounded like my stuff. You know what I mean? Like it was like there's a similarity, like just the way we worked with samples and the ear, and still continuing the ear for the jazz. There's a bit of a similarity. Like Dilla was more advanced than I was. Like, you know, understatement at that time, because I had just started really getting into making beats myself. But I don't know. I just felt like there's this musical cousin that I hadn't met out there. And I started looking for other things that J Dilla had produced, you know what I mean? Like Q-Tip's Amplified album and a bunch of stuff. So one day in 2002, I told my manager, I was like, man, you know, I really want to do something with JD. Like, I'm not really interested in working with a whole bunch of other beat makers, but I want to mess with this cat. Like, you know, cop up give me a bit of a budget so I can make this happen. So I hollered at JD, and he was into it. So he sent me 6 CDs. He's mailed me 6 CDs with all these crazy beats, man. The craziest stuff,
You
like
still got
stuff
the
that's
CDs?
still coming out, like the other artists are using posthumously.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I still have those CDs. The weird thing about them is like, I think only one of them might still be playable. They self-destructed literally over time. These CDs self-destruct. I've never seen a compact disc destroy itself. I'm seriously, like burning holes and patches, like the weirdest shit. Like
That's insane.
Like as if you had like a stash of like CDRs that were made
To burn.
self-destruct. I don't know. Dead serious. So yeah, he sent me all these CDs. Pick a joint or pick, you know, whatever, you know, we can work out financially and shit. And it was a hard time, like trying to decide what to go with. But I went with this one and ended up writing to it, called it One Time. It's funny, I didn't even actually get the song out until like 2005.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But from what I know, Dilla liked the song, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's like a full circle thing, because like now I ended up like developing a relationship with Dilla's younger brother, Illa J, and we've just done a lot of work. He's been on a number of my albums, and I jumped on, like, I think I'm on 5 or 6 songs on his most recent album. So
You guys were on tour together
yeah,
last
like,
couple of years.
yeah. Like, it's crazy, man. It's a small world.
Hurt your head thinking back.
No, it doesn't. Well, kind of in a way.
So
it's
much
just-
history.
Yeah, I wish I could do it all over again.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I hold so much faith that we're gonna see another era like that in hip hop, like the early 90s or the early 2000s, where it seemed like a lot of people really cared. The fans were there, there's a lot of fans, they were passionate about the music, and the artists cared about putting out good product, like stuff that you can put your mind into, or just grooves, and, you know, basically like continuing the tradition of what people call real hip hop. You know what I mean? People call it that. People call it that for a reason, because it follows like a certain guidelines that we set up ourselves. Like, we used to police ourselves. Hip hop used to police itself. You couldn't be whack and rhyme. You know, they're gatekeepers. They're people that, like, okay, you could maybe get in. You're dope. You're dope. Fuck you. You're not getting in. Like, that doesn't really exist
A
anymore.
screening process.
This is, yeah, a screening process. Radio DJs, club DJs. Like, a club DJ wouldn't even let like a guy get on an open mic. If you're whack, Here's the funny thing: if you were a terrible rhymer in the '90s, you actually risked getting beat down. That's how it was when people were passionate about this
We need to
music.
bring that back.
I see people rapping whack all night in places now, man. Nobody doing that. Because don't nobody have a gauge of like what true quality is anymore. Nobody gives a shit. They're just like, oh, turn up, get lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are so PC nowadays. They fucking fear.
That's
that.
another thing. Everybody's scared to be labeled a hater.
Yeah.
Don't be so scared. Like this is a one-shot deal, man. You're gonna be dead before you know it. So
You have an opinion, give it.
yeah. Care about things.
Yeah.
What else are you gonna do with an opinion?
Yeah,
Exactly.
man. I don't know. That's kind of a rant. I don't even know where that's going with that.
We got some pretty crazy tour stories so far. Specifically, Jay Brew is the top of the fucking chart there. Incredible tour story. What is your craziest tour experience?
Damn. I really don't think about that very much. My tour is like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. Like, it's pretty mellow, like grandpa type too. You know, I try to do a good show, do my best I can. I stay sober in the show because I want to be present. I want to be in the moment. I want to remember it. You know what I mean? Usually go grab some food afterwards and go to sleep. You know what I mean?
Some quesadilla.
Hell yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. One time, me and Robbie G were on tour. We were doing a Canadian leg in the wintertime, man. And we got stuck in the craziest snowstorm between Calgary, Alberta, and like Regina, Saskatchewan. It was so bad. At one point, we were crawling along like 15 miles an hour. Cars in ditches, left and right, one after that. We're counting them. I don't know how many, like, we counted like 50 or something in like a certain stretch. Like, it was crazy, man. From that point, I was really careful to watch out what time of year and where I book things. Basically said never again. Like, it was so sketchy. Like, literally, like a lot of sideways slides. Like, I don't know. I've been the most crazy stuff I've been through has been weather and road related. Like, a lot of near-death experiences.
Canada
Like,
weather.
too many. And just other weird things, like in a stop in the middle of the mountains somewhere and I have to get out and pee on the side of the road. It's like 2 a.m. and you get out and it's like 3,000 coyotes howling and like just crazy stuff, man. This stuff, it goes back to what I was talking about before, like the little details. Those are the things that mean a lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
It might be like a certain show, a certain type of like a good vibe I got from a certain crowd, or some good place I ate, or some shitty place I ate. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not really the one to look to for like crazy stuff. It's like, how can I be a doctor if I'm the one suffering? You know? It's weird.
Hey, maybe the patients do the teaching.
Yeah, and I try to keep it. I don't know. I think everybody, the most of cats' crazy tour stories stems from the fact that they're inebriated.
Yeah.
It's cool for them. I'm just saying, it don't work for me.
Everybody's got their own thing.
Yeah, and everybody's got their little secret vices. Yeah, I got things I like to do on the road, but I'm not gonna put it out there. You can probably guess. Anyway.
His name's Kareem on Tinder, I know that. Let's talk a little bit about the Freemasons.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit earlier, and
What would you like to know?
it's there's a lot of negative things surrounding it that isn't necessarily true. So
It's like unfair.
what would
press.
you tell the people like that it is like the legit answer? You're a part of it. You know what
Okay.
goes on the inner workings.
Simply, it's a men's fraternity that's been around for over 300 years, and arguably its practices may stem even for like thousands of years. It's a fraternity based on moral principles, trying to be a better person, faith, hope, charity. It's a fraternity that accepts men from all religions, walks of life, professions, class, division. Like there's no division. It's like
And that's
true-
where the threat comes in.
true equality. You know what I mean? That's the attempt behind it. is that if you can get men together from different walks of life, different ages, different races, and see their similarities in a safe environment, then and have a good meeting and followed by a good dinner, then the higher the chances they'll go out into the world and take that same sentiment with them in their everyday interactions with other people. It just makes the world feel smaller. You know, it's a noble intent. It's kind of like Boy Scouts for men. You know what I mean?
So it's a brotherhood.
It's a brotherhood.
You guys rely on each other, and
for sure. There's charitable aspects to it, but it's not a charity organization. There's other organizations that do a better job, for like the Lions Club or Kiwanis. Those are charity based organizations. Freemasonry is to make men better. Where else in life could I find, like in a lodge meeting, like, you know, like, guys, like, this guy's Muslim, this guy's Jewish, and this guy doesn't really follow any particular faith, and this guy makes paper bags for a living, this guy's a doctor, this guy rides a skateboard and doesn't even have a job, but everybody gets along and understands the what it is to feel like humility and to be to try to achieve betterness within yourself. You know what I mean?
yeah. So where along the way do you think it started picking up these negative connotations?
Pretty much since its inception, like 300 years ago. In a time where religion, you know, dominated certain parts of westernized culture. A lot of times, quite honestly, the church didn't like the idea of guys from different faiths, different like ideologies sitting together and with opening their minds, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a scary thing to the government and the higher ups. And
That's mainly what it, like, what are these guys doing in a private meeting? But like, there's always been
there's town hall meetings that are private.
Exactly.
Rich people get together.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Some people took it a step further and intentionally put out propaganda, like anti-Masonic propaganda, and you know, whether it was a lark or a joke or whatever, these things took hold and people just ran with it. I say overall though, I mean, most people don't even think of Freemasons. I've met a lot of people that don't even know what a Freemason is. I mean, there's other groups that have like similar intentions, you know what I mean? There's like the Elks Lodge or Odd Fellows. They're kind of patterned after Freemasonry. Anyway, it's a way for a man to just try to find more meaning in his life. But it's not the only way. I mean, there's lots of other ways, like, you know, for some people it's yoga.
For sure.
Or for some people it is church. Or some people it's weed. You know what I mean? There's many ways to like get to the center of yourself. But I like Freemasonry. The funny thing is the reason the original reason why I joined is because I used to be kind of like one of those conspiracy guys.
Yeah.
And I started reading, trying to find out more about Freemasonry. What is it? What are these guys all about?
Mm.
The more I read, the more I actually became interested. Like, this doesn't seem bad. This seems kind of cool. And it turned out I found out that one of my good friends, like I had become friends with, was a Freemason, and I had no idea. I said, hey, give me an application. I really want to join. I've really been thinking about it for a long time. I bugged him, and he finally got me an application. And I joined, and it's been like 5 years now.
Is that all it takes to join? You just fill out an application and apply, or is there a process for it?
You have to be referred by somebody, right?
No.
No?
Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, if you know, you're a non-Mason and you have a friend that's a Freemason, yeah, ask him for an application, you know what I mean? It's like nobody's going to ask you to become a Freemason. It doesn't work that way. It's got to be something you want for yourself.
You won't see him outside the liquor store trying to get you.
No, Masons don't solicit.
Oh no.
And like I can't stress it enough. Freemasons are regular guys. They're like your dad, the guy that works for the tow truck company. Actually, no, probably there's no tow truck guys. Those guys are evil. No, but I'm just saying it's like regular dudes. Like, I'm a skater who raps for a living.
Yeah.
If Masons will accept me, like, I'm like a half-wit, man. If they accept me, they'll accept any other decent person, you know what I mean? And the aim is try to make good men better. Mm-hmm. Not shitty men good, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like you can't be a Mason if you got like a horrendous criminal background or something like that, you know what I mean? And just because you become a Freemason doesn't mean all of a sudden you have a shiny halo. I've done all kind of crappy things in my life, you know what I mean? Like, things that I regret, but they're things that I can't change, but I still try to be a better person, like, every day. I really try to be aware of my interactions with people. It's hard, man. I really feel like we live in a society where people just don't want to care anymore. It's just so disheartening, man. Like it hurts. Like, it actually makes me cry sometimes. Seriously. I feel like so out of place. But then, as a Mason, or even more so as a man, I feel like it's my duty to, like, try to spread a little joy. And music's the vehicle. Music's the vehicle I use for that. I want people to be happy. I want people to genuinely enjoy their life and make the most of it.
Have your fellow Freemasons came up to see you perform in the past?
Lots, yeah. Lots. I'm surprised there wasn't any tonight, really. Been everywhere, like, had Masons come out, like in New York, Australia, like all over the place. Yeah. It's been pretty cool. It's not, you know, it's not a club, I'm just saying, it's not a club for rich old guys, and it's not a club that has money either. Like, I'm a 32nd degree Freemason. There's no other higher degrees. Like, that's it. Mm-hmm. I'm far from rich, bro. I got so much bills and stuff. Nobody's bailing me out, or, you know what I'm saying? But I know that my brothers do have my back. There's been a couple times when I had to ask for help for a couple things, and they've tried the best. So.
Dope. So if your musical style could be translated to a Mortal Kombat finishing move, what would it do to your opponent?
It would subdue them through mellow introspection. I would disarm them from basically, like, finding using my music as a chamber that would, like, allow them to, wow, how could I put it? Just to change their whole thought process. Yeah, melt the brain, so to speak, you know what I mean?
I don't know, rainbows dripping out their ears.
Not rainbows necessarily, but like some sunshine.
Tie-dye colors.
I'm not like a violent individual, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm not a pussy either, but I really, I stand up for the people that are trying to make the world a better place.
Dope.
There ain't nothing soft about that, man.
Definitely.
One life to live.
It's a harder task than being negative is.
Hell yeah.
Breaking fucking Wreckords Radio.